something different. The way you said goodnight. I'm staring out the window. Something just ain't right. When you gonna tell me what is on your mind? These changes come with questions, no answers there to find. And now we're seeing eye to eye. So let me express how I feel inside. And I will always be around here, no matter what tomorrow might bring. And I will always be around here. And even when I'm gone, I'm just a call away. And I will. I wonder how can this be real? I hate the way it makes me feel. I'm out there working very hard. So let me express how I feel inside. And I will always be around here, no matter what tomorrow might bring. And I will always be around here. And even when I'm gone, I'm just a call away. You said I'm flying lonely. You're everything, you're my one and only. And I will always be right here, no matter what tomorrow might bring. And I will always be right here. And even when I'm gone, I'm just a call away. And I will, and I will. I'm just a call away. I'm just a call away. And I will always be right here.
Good evening and welcome back. That was exciting. We started our show tonight with a very exciting guest we're bringing. D. Michelle Entertainment and Fashion TV show is proud to present to you Paul Mantia. I'm your host, Sunny, and we're going to be talking to Paul about his music, his fashion. I am wearing his own tie-dye design. It's a jacket he created, and he is wearing his own design as well. Paul, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. We're so excited to talk to you. D. Michelle is very excited to bring your music to its audience. Let's dive right into it. When did this whole music journey start?
All right, we're going to make it short. So my father was a famous drummer.
Yeah.
He performed with bands like Miles Davis on the pop album, David Bowie. So I grew up with a whole line of music with the entire family being involved. But he trained me from an early age, and I started with the guitar at 4.
Amazing.
Started learning to read music at like 6, because it was always, if you don't know how to play jazz, you're not going to be able to play anything out there. That's the way parents are, always pushing. But he didn't want me to be, he wanted me to be something else in life instead of getting into the music industry and being involved. But, I had my own mind and my own creations. I said, I'm going to do what God gave me to do, And by the age, about 16 years old, if you hear the Concord Hotel upstate in New York, my father was in the show bands out there. And I ended up being in, a place called the Night Owl Lounge, and I'm performing on stage with Joe Walsh, from Hotel California, the Eagles, and Billy Preston walks in. I didn't know who the guy was, he was playing with Ringo Starr that night. They were doing a big show. Wow. And him and his manager walk in, this guy Merle Green, and I don't know who Billy is, so I get off the stage and he goes, listen, Billy Preston thinks you're an amazing guitarist. Like, he's impressed. He's like, he wants to speak to you outside in the lounge. I said, yeah, sure, as soon as I'm done. I got done. I went out there, just to make it quick, and he basically signed me right there on the spot.
Wow.
So 2 months later, I was headed to Hollywood, you know, and started recording with him and Ray Charles in the studio. So, you know, things were crazy in the beginning. You know, I had to learn how to feel my music, because those guys, you don't want to go in there and say, I'm going to play rock, you know, I'm going to rock it out like you do in New York City. You know, you're playing the metal and the rock back then. You have to learn how to play everything. But speed wasn't about speed with those guys. It was about feeling. You're playing blues now. You're with gospel music, you know. So my career started off at that point, and from, you know, age 18 now, all the way up until age, I'm going to say, God, 40. I was touring. You know, 20 years I toured with Bootsy Collins, George Clinton, Buzzy Linhart, who wrote "You Gotta Have Friends." Remember the song? I've done studio work with Michael Jackson, you know, Young Jeezy. I can go all the way down the line. It's just, it's non-ending. And from that point, not only being, you know, a multi-talented instrumentalist, but I can play every instrument. You know, everything I pick up, piano, I taught myself. You know, got some tricks and tips, you know, from the big guys out there. But my whole career, you know, it's always been art and music, you know. And then I started open recording studios. Learned how to be a professional recording engineer, video, from editing to doing film work like this, doing switching, you know. Just like everything I could learn throughout my years, instead of wasting my time in life like everybody else is going out and having fun, I was too busy out there learning and, you know, learning everything from the bigger guys, the legends, you know, because people go, oh, listen to your elders, but it's true, because now at my age, I'm sitting there going, damn, if I listened to my father, what he said back then, I wouldn't have done that mistake. But one thing in life is I learned from Will Smith, you know, after sitting in interviews with him, he said one thing always, you know, success, if you don't fail in your life, if you don't make failures, you're never going to succeed. You won't. You have to fail to succeed. People don't understand that, you know. And then people go, you know, in this world, you know, there's a lot of revenge. But, you know, to me, success is your biggest revenge to anybody, instead of just leave all that behind. You know, I used to be there in that category back then, hot-headed, you don't listen to nobody, you don't care what people say. You know, things have changed over, you know, the years as you get older. But, I mean, now with the fashion, you know, basically after my father had passed away, that's when I put the music aside for a little while. I needed to take a break, you know, and I got into fashion, you know. And after looking at tie-dye, I worked for a tie-dye company, and, you know, I tried to push that person into doing something bigger. Let's create dyes. Let's invent a dye that can dye anything on the planet, you know, because all tie-dyes can do out there is dye synthetic fabric, cotton. You know, they can't dye polyester. They can't take liquid dye. You know, you can spray paint on it all day. You know, you can go to the hardware store and you can purchase paint. But, you know, my stuff, basically, I don't talk about what goes on in the studio, but people have seen me and, you know, they've worked with me. My dyes go from anywhere from liquid dye and to a thick paint dye, you know, and it's a formula that I mix with those dyes. And it creates something that will never wash out, never. No matter what you do to it, you know, you can put it in bleach, it's not washing out.
Exciting.
So that's the whole thing. It's having a product that a customer's not going to go to a store and purchase, and 3 days later, you know, the dye is gone. It's faded. It's, you know, gone. And also these glow in the dark. You know, under black lights, some of them glow under regular light. You know, so yeah, I invented a dye that revolutionized the entire fashion industry. I mean, they've even wrote articles about it.
Exciting.
The Michelle, she's known from 2012. She was the first one who ever put me on the show. You know, she said, I got this show going on. She's doing something for breast cancer, and I was really, you know, all for cancer. My mom passed away from cancer. I had some family members, you know. So I jumped in, and, you know, that's where it all pretty much started from that point on. Then I did a few more shows with her, and from there, you know, things just went on. All we were doing was shows back then. It's like 4 or 5 shows every week, you know, for years and years.
Exciting.
So, you know, it just, things did get good, you know. As soon as I got the product out there, you know, and people started seeing it, you know, my name started getting famous, and then the haters came along, you know. That destroyed a lot of things, you know. So that's...
Now, let's try to understand a little bit more about, you know, when it all started at 16 when you first signed. Did you know at that point that music was what you wanted to do for the decades to continue, or you just jumped into it?
No, I knew it was what I wanted to do. You know, I had a goal, and I said, you know, you're a little kid, you're going, I want to be that rock star out there. You know, I want to be up there with them guys. You know, even though your father is well known, what I didn't want to do is I didn't want a hand-me-down. Because I didn't want to bring it in my face. Oh, I got you here, blah, blah. No, I wanted to do it myself, you know, and that's what I did. I went out there and I did it myself. I never even mentioned his name, but people knew, you know, they heard the name. But still, it was just, you know, it was me wanting to get my own goals, you know, and make it myself, and that's what I did. And, you know, later on in my years, you know, I did get, you know, out there. I was touring on concerts, big concerts all over the world. You know, I've toured. It's extensive touring.
Yeah, you toured for decades, you mentioned. Yeah.
25 years. I mean, I needed a break. I had to take a break from it because after a while, hotel, motel, train, plane, this, that, it gets sickening after a while. You want to just go home, you know. And it's a beautiful life out there if you make it a beautiful life, but you know.
Now, how did the transition to fashion happen, to making garments in tie-dye?
As I said, like after my father passed, you know, art ran in my family for a very long time, you know, like for instance, my cousin Vincent Mantia, he's a top known artist, you know, he's also Manhattan Symphony Orchestra cello player. He was making paintings for Manhattan, you know, from way in his childhood. And, you know, my grandparents also owned dye companies back in the day, you know, before the big corporates came in and stole their product, you know. So basically, I mean, it just came from my heart. You know, I said, like I said in the beginning, I want to take this dye that they can only dye one fabric and start putting dye on clothing. I don't make the clothing, I buy the clothing, you know.
Understood.
That's how it works. Or I have a seamstress, you know. I can take anybody's piece here and put anything on it you want. It never, the whole thing about it is giving a customer something that's going to last forever, not just, and something that's one of a kind. You know, you have tie-dye companies out there that mass produce. They can do a tie-dye swirl. You have hundreds and hundreds. Everybody looks the same. My stuff is never,
custom,
nothing's ever alike. Everything's totally different.
Excellent.
You know, like you can see around you.
Now, how can the audience that is interested in this kind of style, where can they find you? Where can we look you up? Where can they buy your clothes?
They can find me on Facebook, Instagram. I have my partners who are working on the websites right now. The website should be going up, I'm going to say, hopefully within a month or so, you know. But right now, if they want to find the clothing, this is how I'm working it. I'm pretty much doing, not like mass production or anything right at this point, but if somebody wants to contact me.
Custom-made orders?
Yeah, custom-made orders, you know, that's what we're taking right now, you know.
Excellent.
Because it's after COVID, you know, a lot's gone on. People are still afraid to get out there. You know, things are hard out there. It's like,
right, and how has the response been to this very eclectic, you know, it's bold and it's different?
It's been all over the world. I mean, it's been through the New York Times to Randy Jones from the Village People, you know, YMCA, he's worn it. I've had Rihanna in our clothing. I've done Alicia's keyboard. I've done her piano. I also do an instrument line. So, like I said, the dyes work on everything from metal to plastic to wood.
Very interesting.
Every material I can ever think about, I've dyed, you know.
Now, having been a successful musician, has it been helpful to get your clothing line out there? It has.
If like back when I first started this, I would come on stage all the time, you know, and I would have the clothing on. I incorporated everything together. But then as the years went by and we started getting bulk orders and more shows and more this, I'm the only guy making this stuff because it's hard to trust people that you're going to bring in your studio, even if they sign a disclosure form, you don't know if they're going to take your stuff, and it's been done already. But we can't get into the things right now, certain aspects of this. But you know, I mean, look, I got to say, I'm blessed to have done what I've done in my life. You know what I mean? I've done a lot, and you know, for where the clothing have gotten me, I mean, yeah, it's gotten me up there. So. But like I said, with COVID now, everything's got to be rebuilt again. You know, people have scattered out there. There's nobody around anymore. New York is, you know, hopefully coming back. But, I mean, where I'm at now, I've sold a lot. I got at least 500,000 pieces out there in 12 years, you know.
Wow, that's exciting. Are you more, well, you're a well-rounded artist for sure, but is your plans for now to switch more to music or continue to expand your fashion line? Or we're curious about where your journey is heading now that things are opening up.
They're in both.
I
just bought a recording studio recently, about 6 months ago. We got a professional studio. You know, my wife also helps out. She's a photographer. She's an artist. She could do some really wild, you know, drawing. As far as drawing goes, faces and things like that. You know, it's a different form of art. And she's also learning, you know, the aspects. She's modeling and doing certain things. So, you know, it's just based on, you know, who we get to work with us now and how we can form a team to, you know, create. Instead of like, you know, all the crap going on out there, the racism. People just need to worry about creating and that's it. And, you know, I'm trying to put a message out there. My clothing, you know, believe it or not, there's a message in every shirt. When you put a black light on, you know, and we do have it if you want it later, you can see faces in there. I even have a shirt at home that recently I've done, and it came out, Jesus Christ is faced in there, and I'm going, okay, you know, that's a message to me. Why would that come out? I don't, you know, when I'm tie-dyeing or I'm tying a shirt, I create, every piece is brand new. I'm not doing the same piece over and over, so every design is completely different from the
How
next.
are you inspired through each creation? What inspires you?
It depends. Like last night before I came to the show, okay,
Yeah.
the dress that she's wearing, the pink one, that's the last dress I'm gonna do. I said, okay.
Okay.
I tell her, I said, I'm gonna get in the studio, I'm gonna play a little bit, maybe play some classical piano, and that's how it inspires me, get my mind away from the outside world into this world of creation. So it's combining both the music and the art together. You know, like, I know she thinks I'm crazy. My wife's got to, she sees me running into the studio, the next minute I'm in there and I'm tie-dyeing, and then I'm back in the studio again. Or I'm running outside because I need to be around people. You know, you can't, like the other artist that was here, the first artist that came on, he made a point that I hope everybody did listen to. He said, staying home and being locked down, it's really hard. What are you going to write about? There's nothing to write about. Now you have to get out there and be around people so you can create. Because like when I go out, my mind, like she's walking with me and I'm just looking at everything. I'm just,
You're absorbing.
my mind is racing and, you know, I have a million ideas going on in my head. Oh, you know what I would do to the Coney Island boardwalk if they ever fixed the wood, you know? I said, I could dye this whole thing. I would do it for free just to make people come, you know? Like things like that, things like this. I'm always looking around me. It's all about, your mind is just constantly creating, you know?
That's such a great idea. Have you involved yourself with any of the city community projects? Because that is a great way of bringing
Yes.
people together back
I've
now.
offered to do one of the buildings they're just putting up there, you know, that glass building with the, but they're not taking anybody to do it right now, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the city's, it's complicated because I don't even know where half of the artwork came from, you know? During COVID, who was around to do this? You know, and if there's no artists' names under it, I think they're just, you know, they hire companies to come in and paint. I think that's what I think is going on. I don't think it's a real actual
But
artist.
that's something
you know?
of interest to
Yeah,
you.
to me it is.
Yeah.
But I have other interests. You know, for this year we're going to be doing things differently. Like I said, my company is now under new management.
Excellent.
Like instead of, it's been for the last 12 years that Michelle has known me. Donna knows I was by myself. You know, and it was really complicated to get people to help me because number one, I'm going to be straight up. It's toxic. Dyes are toxic. Before they hit that oxygen, you know, and hit the shirts, it's toxin. It'll literally take, you know, your nail polish off. It could burn holes in your hands. I got holes, you know. I've been doing this for years, but more experienced, and it's a real safety thing, you know. Safety is number one when it comes time to that. I don't let her touch the stuff, you know. That, you know, it's a whole safety thing, and then it's disclosure forms, you know. You got to trust who's going to be in your studio. But getting back to it, you know, I have my new partner, Roman C. Slick. He's been with me for about, I'd say 3 years now. We did a big show at Chantel, him and I, you know. I also, you know, do organize events now, you know, do shows, you know, before the COVID. And 2017, we did Chantel Hotel, and that place was just like, that was the biggest show I've ever done, you know. And more people than we can ever imagine showed up. And then I have George over here. They're basically handling the business end of the company now, so I can
You're the
create.
creative head.
I need to just create, because doing business, it takes away from everything, you know.
Are you envisioning anything from a musical journey, or is there anything you're creating new music, a new band? I'd love to hear more about that.
It's nice that the guys came out with the Christian, and you know that's what I was saying. I have a song called "Follow Me," and it's going to be coming out hopefully within the next 2 months because it's a major production, and I have a rap version of that song where I was looking for a church choir to bring into the studio because I want to put a live choir, you know, onto this song. You know, I already sent it into Sony. That we want that, but you know, I'm not working with labels. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of lay back off of that right now and just take my time with things and not rush. Because I'm not saying we have all the time in the world. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but you know, like I said, everything's just taking time, and I'm right now.
You want to create the right product at the right time.
You know, because I'm worried about with the fashion right now.
Yep.
So I have to school everybody on the fashion so that I can start focusing on just creating and writing music, you know, and just keep writing. And you know.
Well, with the whole fashion, you know, incubating and creating the design itself is a journey. So that's where you are. Yeah.
I mean, I have a million designs in my head, so that's not the hard part. The hard part for me is finding a seamstress, which I've talked to Michelle. We're going to definitely do something, and it's complicated these days to get online and find a product that you need. Because with COVID and everything, you know, I'm not saying anything bad about China, but I don't go there to buy my clothing.
Of course.
It rips, you know. I need good material, you know, I need silk and leather, you know, things like that. And that's where the company is always known for high fashion wear, you know, nice dresses. And, you know, you'll see when we come on. But, you know, lately it's been real difficult to get certain things sent here. You know, due to all the customs and things going through this, now you can't even get certain chemicals, you know.
Okay.
It's just made it really complicated, you know.
A lot of challenges
It's
for the fashion
challenges
journey,
right
for
now,
sure.
yeah.
And now you have a business partner to help you
Yeah.
navigate through
I got
that.
two.
And,
I
yeah.
got two, and then I have my wife also who helps out a lot, so she does.
We're very excited to see your styles today. And how many styles are you showcasing?
We have two dresses. She's coming out with two, and then she has two.
Okay. And what was the creative inspiration for this? Anything particularly that came to you when you were creating this that you want to share with us?
I kind of put my mind in a spiritual thought, like, you know, even if you don't know, but I'll go in the bathroom and I'll start praying, you know, like I'll say a prayer, you know, please let this design come out with happiness, because in my mind, everything's based on how I feel. Okay. If I'm not in a good mood and I go in tie-dye, trust me, something's going to come out not good on that shirt, okay? Like the other day, something came out that I didn't like. I'm like, I didn't feel well. I just got in an argument with a family member on the phone, and I'm like, you know, disagreement, and the tie-dye that came out was just, I wouldn't even sell out there right now. Okay. Because evil stuff can come out, you know, because you have to remember your conscience, everything your conscience is doing is what you're drawing. It's what how you express yourself, your character. You know, people can read. They can read you, you know what I mean? I can read people, you know, that's another thing. I'm empath, you know, so that's another problem I have, you know, is
it's a lot
always wanting to help somebody. But now I've learned to just stay away and lay back and say, okay, I can't, you know, I got to worry about me and my family and, you know, right now, you know.
Great.
And
so, you know, to all the people who are interested in your fashion, what is the one thing they should look for, and your style's coming out in a couple of minutes?
The company name, the brand name is Northern Lights Tie-Dye.
Okay.
Okay, and we've been 12 years now, you know, so they can look for, I'm trying to think of how I can put this. I'm going to have to say it, guys, okay? There are other companies using the name, but when you type in Northern Lights Tie-Dye, make sure you type in Paul Mantia so you can find me, because I do come up, you type in who owns Northern Lights Tie-Dye, it comes up right on top, trademark, Paul Mantia. You know, there's a lot of people out there doing this, steering traffic to where they shouldn't be going, because they think COVID took everybody drop, you know, so.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us. That's very exciting. You know, there's so much music and so much art in your family. We're so excited to see your fashion designs as well. Again, you go to Paul Mantia, Google that, and his styles will come up. Now, let's take a couple of minutes to take a look at Paul's styles, and we hope you enjoy that. Okay, we are ready to have your models over. Elena, please. Look at that outfit. Talk to us about this.
Okay, so this one here was done on a white dress, and we had purchased this dress from a designer. And I basically dyed this one to fit Elena's color, because I knew, you know, I've worked with Elena before. So you know, you can see the bright colors. This is just made in pastel-y, but bright. It also glows in the dark, but we're not going to do that right now. Okay. So this can be done on anything. So if people, say somebody has a dress or a wedding dress at home, they want to send it in, we also do that well. You can send it in, and we do custom designs on dresses, any type of dresses, or they can just order the dress from me, you know. So.
Thank you. Malaysia, let's have you over, please. Thank you.
Like, this is more of a formal dress. This is more of a club dress. This is something you would go out to the club in, or you can wear this on the beach. You can wear this anywhere.
Right.
I mean, when you walk into a club with this and they have them black lights on, you'll be the first one noticed in that crowd, because there's no other dyes out there in the world that glow as bright as these do. And it's not only one design. So behind each color is a design. So behind that pink is a design. When you turn the black lights on, that's when you can see what's behind those designs. And that's when faces and all kinds of images come out, depending on what your mind creates, what you want to create in there.
So it's a sort of
like
a 3D
other tie-dye,
effect.
you go and get a tie-dye shirt, anywhere, go buy it anywhere. You put it on the black light, you'll never see what's below that, because you only see one design. It's printed. Here's Malaysia. Malaysia's wearing a new dress, and this is a new design. Basically, it's just red, pinks, and black, but also glow. And on the back, there's a nice splattered rose that you could see in the daylight, but also see at night when we put the black lights on.
Lovely. Thank you. Our next model, please.
And this one here, this is all hand dyed.
More
This
casual.
is done by hand.
Yep.
And it's just a different design with matching leggings. Something for the summer, for the beach. Stay warm, stay cool, you know, during the...
Lovely. Thank you. And the last model, Elena, please. Thank you.
And that's just a summer top, you know. Basically, it has the lace back so that this way you can breathe. Spin around so you can show them.
Yeah, let's check out
This
the
way
back.
you can
That's
breathe in the
amazing.
summertime, and you know the heat doesn't stay in. It doesn't stick to you. The material is nice. It's got a spandex, about 50% spandex, and the rest is cotton. And this also glows in the dark.
Remember, you can reach out to Paul Mantia directly for custom-made designs. He can talk to him, consult with him about what kind of colors you want, and you will see the output after. Thank you so much for joining us, Paul. It was such a pleasure chatting with you. D. Michelle Entertainment and Fashion TV Show is so happy to have all of you over, and we love your styles. We wish you good luck and excited to see where your future is going to take you. Remember, audience, we're so grateful to you, but we're also accepting sponsors and contributors to our cancer survivors that Dee Michelle herself supports through St. Jude and other avenues. If you'd like to sponsor our show or Dee Michelle magazine that's coming up in the next month, or for any of the causes, you can Cash App us directly at DMO1960. That's $DMO1960. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a lovely night, and we'll see you next week.